Fort Leonard Wood is known for its grueling training and rugged terrain. But what if I told you some patrols aren't done alone? They say when the fog rolls in over the Missouri Ozarks and the forest falls silent, you can hear only the crunch of your boots on the gravel road. You're not alone. There's another set of footsteps behind you, getting closer, and the apparition is always friendly. Sometimes it might even help you out. This is the story of the friendly ghost who walks with soldiers in the dead of night. I'm the host. Now we bring you this scary story from Fort Leonard Wood. It's nighttime. A thick blanket of fog hangs over the training grounds at Fort Leonard Wood, obscuring the path ahead. A lone soldier trudges forward, his boots crunching on the gravel, his eyes straining to pierce the gloom. Suddenly, he hears the telltale sound of approaching footsteps, but he's alone on this late-night shift. As the fog clears slightly, he turns to see who's there, but sees no one. Startled, he continues his patrol, hoping to shake off the eerie feeling that's been following him all evening. But as the night wears on, the sense of unease only grows. It seems like just as he's about to doze off, something nudges him awake. At first he thinks it's his imagination, the product of sleep deprivation and exhaustion. But then he hears other soldiers around him stirring as well, each muttering about being nudged by an unseen force. As the sun rises and the mist clears, they compare stories and realize they're not alone on these lonely patrols. Each of them has seen or felt the same thing, an inexplicable presence that watches over them in the darkness. But what is it? Warning, a protector, or something more sinister? Welcome to our channel, where we bring you the most spine-chilling and terrifying stories from around the world. From ghosts to serial killers, we've got it all. If you're looking for a good scare, stick around, because today we're going to explore the chilling accounts of soldiers who have encountered that's supernatural while serving at Fort Leonard Wood. The whisper among recruits, soldiers stationed at Fort Leonard would have long whispered tales of a mysterious figure who appears to watch over them during their late-night training exercises. These eerie encounters often take place when soldiers are exhausted and on the verge of falling asleep on duty, which is strictly prohibited. Just as they're about to succumb to the heavy-lidded state, they're abruptly awakened as if someone had nudged them. When they turn to see who was there, they find no one. This unexplained phenomenon has become a source of fear and fascination for the soldiers, who wonder if they're being tested or if there's something more sinister at play. But this is just the beginning. Some soldiers have even reported seeing the ghostly figure of a man dressed in old army fatigues walking through the mist, while others have heard the sound of footsteps following them as they make their rounds. Despite the fear that these sightings and sounds inspire, many soldiers take comfort in knowing that they're not alone in the darkness. They believe that the ghost is there to guide and protect them, ensuring that they complete their duties safely. A Reddit user shared this story, so I was at Fort Leonard Wood back in 2008 for 1 week of training. For those who don't know, it's known for its rigorous training and infamous for being pretty much in the middle of nowhere. We were doing late-night patrols in the woods, and I had a pretty decent-sized group with me. Being new, we were told to stay awake at all costs. Sleep equals trouble. Simple enough? Well, after several hours of walking back and forth between 2 points, needless to say, everyone was exhausted. Most people in my group started nodding off. I myself was having trouble staying awake. I remember thinking to myself, I can't fall asleep here. I won't be able to catch up on sleep for the next 3 days. So I started making a joke, trying to keep everyone awake. And that was about the time I saw it. In the corner of my eye, I saw what looked like a pair of boots walking next to me. Mind you, we were in single file and I was in the middle. When I turned to look at what I thought was my buddy, it was nobody. Needless to say, I was freaked out. Then, we started hearing what sounded like boots marching alongside us, even though we were the only ones there. To this day, I still don't know what that was. But I do know that I didn't fall asleep for the rest of the 3 days. For any of you who have been there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't, suffice it to say that it is hard to get a good night's sleep there. As more and more soldiers began sharing their experiences, a pattern emerged. It became clear that this was not an isolated incident, but part of a larger phenomenon that had been witnessed by countless soldiers before them. Some spoke of seeing the ghost of a former soldier who had died during a training exercise decades ago. Others claimed to hear the faint sound of his boots crunching on the gravel, as if he were marching alongside them on their lonely patrols. Despite the fear and uncertainty surrounding these encounters, the soldiers found comfort in the knowledge that they were connected to a long line of those who had come before them. They realized that they were not just enduring the harsh conditions of Fort Leonard Wood's training, but also carrying on a tradition that had been passed down for generations. So why does he do it? Rumor says that long ago, during a bitter cold training march, a young soldier froze to death. Now his ghost wanders the post, helping the new guys avoid the same fate. Reddit user Artorias the Hunter said, "I was at Fort Leonard Wood in 2007 for medical training. This was back when we still wore dress uniforms in the field, which is already hot and uncomfortable. Imagine doing that in the freezing cold weather we had that year. Anyway, my platoon sergeant knew the story about the ghost, and he loved to mess with us. On the second night of our field training, he sent half of our platoon on a ghost patrol. We were to walk from the parade ground to the armory and back without stopping or making a sound. No talking, no singing, no nothing. If anyone dozed off or made a noise, they'd be doing push-ups until morning. Of course, being young and stupid, we didn't believe him. Oh boy, did we learn our lesson the hard way. About 4 in the morning, we heard crunching gravel and turned to see the shadow of a man in dress uniform walking toward us. He stared straight ahead and kept walking right past us and out into the foggy night. Needless to say, we all did a lot of push-ups that morning. That guy was no ghost. He was our platoon sergeant, and he was having a laugh at our expense. What he didn't count on was that one of our privates had seen him earlier and knew what he was doing. Our squad leader marched right up to our platoon sergeant and said, "You may want to get ready for a lot of push-ups yourself, Gunny, because you're going to owe those boys big time." And sure enough, that morning during formation, we all ganged up on our poor old platoon sergeant and made him do a ton of push-ups himself. The weirdest part of this is that we actually saw the same ghost later that week during some other training exercise. So I am not sure if there's really a ghost there, or if we just had a really active imagination. While some may dismiss these experiences as the product of overactive imaginations or sleep deprivation, there are many who believe that there's something more to these stories. Perhaps there really is a ghost that wanders the grounds of Fort Leonard Wood, watching over the soldiers and ensuring their safety. Or maybe it's just the legacy of those who have come before, their spirits living on in the stories that are told around campfires long after they're gone. Is it a ghost? Some say it's just mass sleep deprivation, and that's probably true. But there are a lot of stories like this from Fort Leonard Wood, and at the end of the day, it's better to be safe than sorry. It's better to think you're crazy and be okay than risk being normal and end up dead. Like this story goes, there was a soldier who died at the fort years ago. He was on a training exercise, and he just dropped dead of a heart attack. Or maybe it was exposure, or maybe he tripped and hit his head. Nobody knows for sure, but people still tell the story. The point is, even if it's just a figment of your imagination, sometimes it's best to be safe than sorry. We'll end with one final Reddit comment. "I didn't believe it until it happened to me. I was doing my first night patrol. I stopped for a second and fell asleep. I was shaken awake by a nudge on my shoulder, and I saw my partner yelling at me. I asked him what he was doing, and he said he wasn't doing anything. He was as surprised as I was. I asked him if he had nudged me, and he said yes, because I had fallen asleep. He said, 'Watch out, or you're going to get popped for sleeping on duty.' I nodded thanks to him. He kept doing his rounds, and I walked back to where I had come from, so I could stay awake. An hour later, I heard boots crunching on the gravel behind me. I turned and saw my partner running toward me. He stopped next to me and asked how I managed to fall asleep again. I told him I didn't. I just stood here and watched him fall asleep. He was so mad, but he couldn't deny what he had just done. Fell asleep on the job. We both got popped for it, but it was worth it. Even though we got in trouble, I will be forever grateful that he saved me from getting hurt. Who knows how long I would have stayed there if he hadn't woken me up. Whether he's real or just legend, every soldier at Fort Leonard Wood knows the ghost who has your six. That's all for today's story. Tell us, have you ever seen an apparition on patrol or heard footsteps when there was no one there? Share your thoughts below. And if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.